1-4-1 formation, and Andorra are all in yellow. Ike Alvarez is in goal. It's a back five of Borra, Llobera, Christian Garcia, Oliveira and San Nicolas, with Aaron Rodrigo, Marc Valles, Babot and Servos in the midfield behind the lone striker Richard Fernandez. Matt Upson.
He could have a lone afternoon, Richard Fernandez. He really could. I mean, how much ball he's going to get, the Andorra number 9, we'll have to wait and see, but he's going to have to hold it up to relieve any pressure for his team, because I fully expect England to dominate everything, including possession.
England will be playing from left to right as we look, as the sun is shining on those who are on the far side of the stadium. 278 days to the World Cup. For Thomas Tuchel, he says this is the starting point as England look to take another step towards automatic qualification with what they hope will be a 4th straight win in Group K. As Miles Lewis Skelly over on that far side gives it to Declan Rice, and Guéhi comes forward, and Guéhi now over the halfway line, and already Andorra, all in yellow, have retreated. The ball played down the right-hand side to Noni Madueke, and Madueke runs forward, right-hand side of the penalty area, down towards the byline, and sliding in there was a very good challenge from Ian Oliveira.
Good tackle, wasn't it? Really good. Madueke had the space there for me. Nice opportunity early on. Reece James rolls him down the line, gets him one-on-one going into the box, and I have to say, Oliveira really surprised me with his turn of pace as Madueke knocked it, he matched him, got a good tackle in. The ball has actually ricocheted off for a goal kick.
Phil, it's all about the start, isn't it? The intensity, that momentum from the first whistle.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially in a game like this, you want to be on the front foot, passing the ball forward with intent and purpose, and it's exactly what they did inside the first few seconds.
The two gentlemen either side of me have been at a World Cup for England, and England are hoping to be, come June the 11th, in the United States next summer. Certainly they'll face their toughest test of the group on Tuesday night in Belgrade, that is for sure, as Anderson, making his debut, collects the ball and gives it to Dan Burn. Newcastle United out to Lewis Skelly on that far side. A proud moment for Elliot Anderson, and I've got to say as well, thoroughly deserved call-up for him. He wants the ball. Tuchel was saying he's in the team as an 8, but speaking to Elliot Anderson the other day, he said he can play that number 6 role. He's got those combative qualities, as Declan Rice playing a little bit further forward. Now lays it off towards Rashford. Rashford on the left-hand side, cuts back. Rashford then jinks back in on the byline, tries to weave his way in towards the penalty area, goes down, and the Finnish referee waves away the protest. That is Mohamed El Imara.
First little glimpse of Rashford, looks in the mood actually. Lovely piece of play, really skillful, faces up, and when he decides to run, Marcus Rashford, once he's touched the ball, I mean, he's electric from the start. I mean, his acceleration is pretty scary. Lovely footwork near the goal line, just couldn't quite get the cross in.
He's had the one start since he moved to Barcelona, played the first 45 minutes against Levante, 2 substitute appearances since then for a grand total of 49 minutes. So I'm sure that he will be relishing this opportunity on that left-hand side. The ball is lifted long. Marc Valles has actually gone forward, comes towards Anderson, lays it off to Reece James. When actually England played Andorra in Barcelona, James, who's now seen as the first choice right back for the moment, actually played as a left back that day. You might recall that Curtis Jones played as a right back when they met at Espanyol Stadium. Here is Burn once again, his 3rd appearance. The tall and big Dan Burn left of the centre circle to Anderson, already seeing a lot of the ball, but Andorra have just dropped off, and they're not intent on really pressing either of the 2 central defenders, as Guéhi spreads it out towards James on this near side, and he's closed down by Servos, as then Guéhi spreads it, and Burn comes onto the ball. Lewis Skelly goes on ahead of him. Actually, the width on that left touch line is with Rashford, who links up with Lewis Skelly, and the ball is put out of play for an England throw. It remains 0-0. We've been playing for 4 minutes.
Yeah, I'm pleased to see Lewis Skelly in the left-back position as well, because I think he's the type of player that is very, dynamic with the ball. He's adventurous, the way he steps in the field or goes out wide, and him just behind Marcus Rashford could be a really exciting combination on England's left-hand side.
If you've just got into the car after watching your team in either League One or League Two and don't have access to the BBC Sport website or app, I will run through all the results for you as we've just watched this latest England attack. And James inside towards Madueke, right corner of the area. England attacking the Holt end away towards our right-hand side. So in League One, Bolton 3, Wimbledon 0. Doncaster Rovers beat Bradford City by 3-1. That's the end of Bradford's unbeaten start to the season in that Yorkshire derby. Huddersfield beat Peterborough United by 3-2. Peterborough, who are yet to win this season. Lincoln 2, Wigan 2, Plymouth 4, Stockport County 2. Port Vale, who are also yet to win, conceded late. They were beaten at home by Leyton Orient. Port Vale 2, Leyton Orient 3. Rotherham 1, Exeter 0. And Wycombe got their first win in League One, beating Mansfield Town by 2-0. The results in League Two: Newport 2, Bristol Rovers 3, Barnet 1, Shrewsbury 3, Barrow 1, Swindon 3, Cambridge United 0, Oldham 1, Cheltenham 1, Accrington 0, Colchester 1, Crewe 1, Harrogate 0, Crawley 1. 5 goals at MK Dons. MK Dons 2, Grimsby Town 3, Notts County 1, Fleetwood 0. Salford beat Tranmere by 3-1. Walsall 1, Chesterfield 0. And in the top of the table, Bromley Gillingham will get underway at 5:30. So that means first wins of the season for Oldham, Crawley, Shrewsbury and Cheltenham. And Accrington Stanley are still searching for their first success in League Two. This is BBC Radio 5 Live, 5.5 minutes in, and I don't think we missed anything during that period.
Other than Babel has picked up a yellow card in midfield for Andorra with that foul on Madueke as he just burst past him, so an early yellow for him. He's going to have to be careful with his tackling. And
that actually means that he will be suspended for their next World Cup qualifier against Latvia in October, because they are away to Estonia for a friendly on Tuesday. A date in Tallinn on a Tuesday night. James on this near side the right, still 0-0, 6 minutes played. Every outfield player is in the halfway towards our right-hand side. Bit of a gentle breeze blowing inside Villa Park on this bright evening. Declan Rice forward of the centre circle. Rashford and Lewis Skelly were options to the left, but Anderson instead takes over and with a bit of pace fizzes the ball in towards James on this near side, back towards Anderson, turns back towards Gahey. Fernandez looks to close him down. They quickly pass it on, and then Dan Burn out towards Rashford. Early ball looking for Marcus Rashford, for Declan Rice. This is Lewis Skelly, goes to ground, referee says no foul. That's where it's going to be hard for Andorra, because they're losing the ball straight away.
Yeah, it's always going to be difficult for them, but I think from an England perspective that even when the back line is really deep for Andorra, you've got to have those runs that stretch the back line. I think Madueke did it before when he's from an opposite 10 sort of position. He's drove and made a run into the back line, and James received the ball, and those are the type of runs that he...
Phil Jones and Matt Upson, who are with us on BBC Radio 5 Live and the BBC Sounds app. Anderson already seeing so many touches in the centre circle, isn't he?
Just relaxed, doesn't he?
He does.
And composed and getting on the ball, wanting the ball. He's playing very much that deeper lying role. Declan Rice a little bit more advanced. I think it's hard to, overcrowd that attacking central space.
James comes forward. Out it goes to Lewis Skelly. He delivers a cross with pace. And I'm not too sure that it was Sam Nicholas who knew where Harry Kane was, and he couldn't afford to take the chance, and he managed to flick it away from the penalty area. It didn't go behind. It's gone down for a throw on the England right between the main stand and the Holt end.
A great early ball in from Lewis Skelly with his left foot, whips it in. Kane didn't quite gamble actually at the back post. He just held off a little bit, could have really tried to get across his man.
England with a throw. James Madueke flicks it on. Ebericha Eze with his back to goal outside the penalty area. The reason that they've gone with Ebericha Eze starting, and I think it's only his third start for England, is that they feel that he deserves to play in a really good moment, I think, as far as the coaching staff are concerned. Certainly Anderson deserves his chance with his fine form, and part, of course, of that under-21 side in the summer that, once again, back-to-back European champions under Lee Carsley. England are passing the ball around quickly. It remains 0-0. We're in the 9th minute. This is Gahey. Certainly Thomas Tuchel, who's out, just getting his instructions across to his players, was talking about his attitude, that he's shown a great deal of respect and grace after that deal to Liverpool on deadline day fell through, much to his disappointment from Crystal Palace. Ball towards Rice, goes ahead of him, and out it will go for a goal kick. We'll get an update in the Women's Rugby Union World Cup. England-Australia, Maz Faruqi.
Well, not the start England fans were perhaps expecting to a side they have never lost to. Early try for the Australian forwards with a conversion made, but Jess Breach has just touched down for England in the corner, although the conversion has just been missed. So it's England 5, Australia 7, 8 minutes played.
Thanks, Maz. Commentary of that is on Sports Extra. And Scotland, despite losing to Canada earlier, will actually play the winners of that group of Pool A. Wales earlier were beaten by Fiji in their final game in the Women's Rugby Union World Cup. But 10 minutes in, and England 0, Andorra 0. Back it goes to Pickford. Concentration very much the order of the day for Jordan Pickford. I doubt that he will be tested a great deal by this Andorran side that has gone 14 competitive matches without scoring a goal.
I mean, he's got a fair bit of experience of these games, hasn't he, Jordan Pickford? He's had a few evenings or afternoons where not much has happened.
Anderson breaks towards Kane, and falling backwards he shoots left-footed just inside the penalty area, and it was straight at Iker Alvarez, the goalkeeper and the son of Coldo Alvarez, who is the longest current serving international manager, 15 years and 214 days. That's some service for your country.
It's not bad, to be fair, it's not bad.
But the first opportunity, really, wasn't it, for a shooting opportunity, as the ball is lifted and sails goalwards, and it's plucked out of the air by Jordan Pickford. Phil, what do you make of the opening 10 minutes?
Yeah, as we expected, England in full control, moving the ball really quickly. The runs, especially from deep, the third man run, Declan Rice is making one now. They're important to stretch the back line, to allow other players to pick the ball up in the pockets, but solid start.
This is Rice, a little bit on the stretch, 6 yards forward of the centre circle. Gahey goes through the middle, goes through at the back of Harry Kane. He just made a run towards the inside right channel of the penalty area, and it went behind him, and it runs through to the Andorra goalkeeper, all in pink, as the England supporters try to generate the noise from the Holt end. First England international here for the men since a goalless draw against the Netherlands 20 years ago. Paul Robinson, our good friend, was in goal that day for England. Lewis Skelly.
Have you spotted the Andorran fans in here, by the way?
No, I haven't. I was told
there must be a little cluster somewhere.
There was no more than 100. I was led to believe they wouldn't be sitting too far away from us, but I haven't seen them so far. Alvarez with the clearance from his penalty area away towards our right. Unchallenged header forward by Gahey. Not too sure whether there was the faintest of touch there by Madueke. It was Eza who they were looking to run in behind on this near side, and that is offside against Richard Fernandez, one of a few players who plays their football overseas away from Andorra. Tabor Cesana in the Slovenian second division.
Do you ever watch any of that? Have the time?
I like to watch as much football as I can, but I haven't gone as far as the Slovenian second division.
Not enough hours in the day, mate.
No, there's not. Holding on to the ball on that far side is Aaron Rodrigo, the son of the Andorran Federation's Secretary General, making only his 5th appearance for Andorra, and England see it quite comfortably back to Jordan Pickford. Just as a word of warning, England have won all 7 against Andorra. They are yet to concede, but of the 26 goals they've scored in those 7 previous meetings, 17 of them, which is quite a large number of that proportion of 26, have come in the second half. So patience is very much the watchword, I think, for Tom.
We should lower our expectations of this first 45 minutes. I know they're sky high anyway. Well,
I think I'm still scarred from the experience of watching them in Espanyol in June. But yeah, just don't expect too much too soon. 0-0. And at the minute, I've got to say, those 13 minutes, it hasn't exactly been exhilarating.
No, it hasn't. And I think there's been moments where it's been moved quickly. When it's moved quickly, like Phil has said, things happen. Space happens. I think get the ball to Rashford early and let him run at the fullback. He looks quite bright to me. this afternoon, Rashford. He started in a way, he's got spring in his step, he went at the defender early on, him cutting inside, plenty of shots as well. Shoot from outside the box, do you know what I mean? We've got the ability, we've got players that are brilliant with the shooting outside the box. Eze, Rice, Rashford coming inside. You know, really try and create those opportunities and have the freedom to have a pop.
Got to say, I think Anderson's had a fine start to the game on his England debut. Just got a good header in the midfield. Forward then to Eze, picks up towards Anderson once again. He turns.
It's got to go in the box though there for me. Have a touch, just whip a cross in, a nice deep cross. Declan Rice had already made his way into the box and gamble a little bit more.
He's picked up Madueke inside towards Eze. Eze shoots low. That was better from England. It was quick, it was incisive. Madueke with a layoff. One touch from Eze, out from underneath his feet, low right-footed, straight at Alvarez.
Yeah, just one touch and a shot. It's with his right foot. He's under pressure. Doesn't really connect cleanly enough. There's a slight deflection as well, but it came from the ball moving quickly. And just, if England do that, they'll create half a yard of space.
That was much better, wasn't it?
It was. I echo what you said about Anderson. I think he started the game really well. He's picking the ball up in that deep position and sort of orchestrating the play at the minute. Everything's coming through him.
Well, we'll talk about, I mean, we're presenting after the game till 7:30. I know I sounded like Mark Chapman with my enthusiasm for the start of the game earlier, but Phil's just prompted me a potential talking point as we chew the cud after this game for between 7:30 when 6:06 will take over, about Anderson and coming in from the under-21s and the level of scrutiny that you get when you are a senior England international. So I think that will be a talking point if I don't forget, so remind me for that one later on, Matt.
Yeah, I will. And you weren't as excited as what Chappers was.
England have got a corner. 15 minutes played and it remains 0-0. In front of the whole 10, Declan Rice to take it on the near side, the right. White shirts, navy shorts. It'll be an out-swinging corner from the right boot of Declan Rice. The Finnish referee has spotted a little pushing and shoving, and he's just having a word actually with the Andorran goalkeeper, Ika Alvarez, who's been protected by a number of Andorran players, all in yellow with a little bit of flash of blue down the side of those jerseys. And Declan Rice still waits, and still those players jostle in front of the watchful Finnish referee. The referee's whistle has blown, and after all of that they knock it short to Eze. Now to Madueke. Madueke left-footed, shoots low, blocked by Mark Valles. The rebound, Reece James will see all the way back to Jordan Pickford, who actually gets a touch and he's 6 yards outside the centre circle in his own half. Anderson plays it forward towards Gahey. Only now is Dan Burn running back towards the halfway line, and the Newcastle defender passes the ball to Rice. Rice lifts it into the penalty area. Rashford has made the run into that inside left channel of the box. Couldn't quite control the ball. It looked like it was going to go away and out for a goal kick, and he played it out, and it'll be an Andorra throw on the Andorran right in the sunshine instead.
Yeah, it stayed central there, Marcus Rashford, as the ball had come back in and made the run out to England's left-hand side. He just couldn't quite control the ball. Nice little spot from Declan Rice, just tried to lift the ball over the back five.
In Group F, Armenia 0, Portugal 1. João Felix has got that goal for the Portuguese. Here is Anderson, just outside the centre circle, out to Rashford, who fires the ball across. That header will go straight towards Reece James, clips it in on the half volley. Slice clearance inside that penalty area by Max Jovera. England have got it back with Declan Rice. Didn't keep the ball in play. It will be an Andorra throw. I've got to say, though, we're talking about England from an Andorran point of view, Phil. Their coach, Codo Alvarez, will be thinking, OK, first quarter of an hour gone. Not too bad.
Yeah, it's been a reasonably good start from them. They've not conceded. They've not looked like conceding as of yet, but I do think once that goal does go in, that's when usually the floodgates open. So I think he talks about before staying in the game as late as possible. I think that's got to be the goal for them.
We heard from Xavi from the Andorran Federation ahead of the game, and he was just saying we focus on defence, and certainly 5 wins in 136 matches as far as qualification goes for major finals means that they don't have a great deal of success for a team that is ranked 174th in the world, just ahead of Chad. However, Chad the other day caused a bit of an upset. They got a late equaliser against Ghana in a 1-1 draw. So don't take anything for granted. There are no easy games, we keep being told.
That's the quote of the evening, isn't it? No easy games. And I think, you can see why he said they enjoy the Nations League. Nations League's a great tournament, isn't it, for them, in terms of just matching them up against opposition where the game can be a bit more open and a bit more 50-50.
I've got to say, I strongly disagree with you. The quote of the day was on 5 Live. Oh, Pickford almost closed down by Aaron Rodrigo as he's touched inside the 6-yard area, and he managed to volley it away left-footed. The quote of the day was on 5 Live Breakfast earlier on today from Matthew Upson. Anyone can stand in goal. If your mate Rob Green has heard that, you're in trouble.
I did say I'm going to get a bit of hate from the goalkeeping fraternity, but it's easier at 54 to play a game in goal than it is in the centre of midfield, though. That was my point. That
was in relation to a 54-year-old Dorking fan who was in goal for their National League South match.
And how'd they get on?
The last I heard, they were beating Tottenham 2-1.
Brilliant.
I don't know how it finished.
He must have had a good afternoon. Fair play to him.
Yeah. The new goalkeeper is registered on Monday, according to 5 Live Breakfast earlier. Here is Madueke, 0-0 it remains in this World Cup qualifier at Villa Park. We've been playing for 20 minutes. Yeah, they did. They held on to that 2-1 win. Did Dorking. So I guess in that sense, your quote stands up, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, you could have played in goal.
Yeah. Paul Robinson's with us in Belgrade. I might mention it to him.
Yeah, ask Robbo. He'll probably agree with me.
Here is Anderson across towards Dan Burn. Burn out to Rashford, far side the left. Lewis Skelly takes over, just loses the ball on the left corner of the penalty area, and Rodrigo will pass it out towards that far side. Up it goes towards Fernandez, but able just to step forward and off the chest was Dan Burn, and then Rice takes over once again. England have only had 2 shots on goal so far, as they're having to be patient in this opening 21 minutes or so. Here is Burn, going to try and find the way through that wall of yellow.
I mean, I really feel a centre-back plays a key part in these games as well, with the ball. Certainly does.
To step forward into midfield?
Absolutely, just to drive the tempo. Even if you don't need to move it quickly. Even if there's time, just you have so much of the ball that you have to drive the tempo. The full-backs, centre-backs, absolutely, because there's not a lot of pressure on you.
Here is Madueke, skips away from one challenge, now runs at the left back, looks for Eza, too far ahead of him, runs out of play for a goal kick. If you're wondering by the way that this game has been played at Villa Park and not at Wembley, it's because it's concert season, and Coldplay are in action at Wembley, and here we have Andorra, all yellow too. I used that one on Paddy Keelty this morning. I've got to say, his producer Sammy James, I heard it on his podcast, and I've got to say, plagiarism is alive and well.
Terrible.
0-0. At the minute, the game's not much better. Goal kick. Anderson heads it forward.
It's better than your gags, though.
Here is James. Anderson again on the halfway line. Rides the challenge, does well, springs back to his feet. Referee had actually let the game flow as well. Good refereeing. Burn now will come forward. Rashford stays out wide. Lewis Skelly's got into that inverted role on the left-hand side. Out towards Rashford. Rashford now leads it off towards Burn. We're midway through the first half. It is England 0, Andorra 0. And here is John Murray.
Yes, strangest sense of deja vu. Halfway through the first half, 0-0. England playing Andorra. Got the ball in the penalty area. Chance for Eza. That's blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box. And Andorra have been able to scrape it away, but it's back with England again. Ball in from the right, all the way from James, right across the 6-yard box. Harry Kane stretching in there, just couldn't get a touch, and it's all the way through for a goal kick. And that, apologies Ian, that is the best of the match that we've seen so far in my first 60 seconds of commentary.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that England have shown a little bit of edge, a little bit of direct play, and Harry Kane, I know that he can believe he hasn't got on the end of this cross. It's a really good ball. I think there might have been a slight nick off the toe of Madueke that just took it away from Harry Kane, who in disbelief can't believe he's not put that in the back of the net. It was probably half an inch away from his toe, but good from England in terms of getting the ball in early. I think was it Reece James with the cross? He just whipped it in.
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm not sure how Harry Kane failed to make contact with that, and almost any touch.
Anything, right at that back post, any kind of contact is in.
And initially the shot from Eza, the new Arsenal man, that was blocked. Eberici Eza starting the match for the first time since that move to Arsenal. Mark Gay, no doubts about him playing in this match. Thomas Tuchel said yesterday, after the events of the week for him, the move to Liverpool, it didn't happen. And Gay just receiving the ball now, the England number 6, as England attack towards the Holt end, which they've been doing all match, but no goals yet. Here's Madueke in the penalty area, ball in, clipped in, and it comes off the head of Kane. And England do have the breakthrough. Might have been the defender next to him, Christian Garcia, that it clipped the head. Kane was with him, but it is, I think, an own goal that has led to England taking the lead just past the midway point of the first half. England 1, Andorra 0.
Well, I just touched on earlier about how important the centre-backs are in driving the team, and it's a really simple little pass that Mark Guehi makes, but it's a progressive forward pass where he slips it into Eze, who then continues it on, gets it into Madueke, looks to cross it. It's a nice in-swinging left-footed cross. It's curling towards a couple of England players. Kane's in there, Declan Rice is arriving, and it just skims right off the top of Garcia's head into the back of the net. But it's about that progressive pass from Mark Guehi that just makes that little move happen.
And there we have it, just past the midway point of the first half, 25th minute, and it is an own goal that sees England take the lead. Phil Jones.
Yeah, really well worked. Matt mentioned it in commentary just before about the centre halves and how important they are. Guehi with a lovely little ball in between the lines creates the space for the cross, and it's an unfortunate own goal, but it's a really good start from England. They've dominated the game as we'd expect, and yeah, so it's an uphill task now for Andorra.
Yeah, it was just a case of getting that opening goal, and Coldo Alvarez, their coach, did say to me yesterday that it was all about keeping it tight for as long as possible, which they did for the first 25 minutes. But England now already 1-0 up, and Dan Burn in an advanced role looking for Declan Rice. England looking to press the accelerator here. Rashford over on the left-hand side. Rice's ball into the box, that is cleared away just halfway inside his penalty area by Ian Oliveira for Andorra. Portugal have gone 2-0 up in their first World Cup qualifier, so this is their campaign beginning today, and it's Cristiano Ronaldo who's added to João Felix's first goal, so that extends his record total of international goals, Cristiano Ronaldo. And then there's an overhead pass from Gay that goes all the way through for a goal kick. So England leading by 1-0. Got a choice of listening right now. The England-Australia match at the Women's Rugby Union World Cup continues on Sports Extra. That's where you'll find the commentary. But Maz Farouqi's there in Brighton,
where England thought they had moved ahead for the first time in this match midway through the first half, John, but an Amy Cockayne effort's been ruled out. Forward pass in the build-up, TMO had a look, so it's still England 5, Australia 7, 23 minutes played here now.
Thank you, Maz. As I say, that is on Sports Extra now on your digital radio or via the BBC Sounds app. You will find Sports Extra there. That was Cristiano Ronaldo's 139th international goal, Matt.
It's not bad,
total
is it?
That, is it?
It's not bad.
Yeah. And how old is he now?
I've got no idea. How old is Ronaldo? I'm looking at
He's got to be pushing 40 now.
Must be.
I think he might.
He's
be
over.
I think he might be past 40.
He's over 40, isn't he?
He is 40.
Yeah.
He was 40 in February.
Incredible.
Do you think he's planning to be at the World Cup?
Oh, I think he's got half an eye on it, surely.
Do you think?
There'll
be no show without punch.
It's like it's not human, really, isn't it? To be producing at that level across the timeline of his career is just
the hunger to do
incredible.
Already 17 teams are now qualified for the World Cup next year in Mexico, Canada and the United States. England 3 wins out of 3. in this group, and on the way to 4 out of 4, you would think, having got their noses in front here finally. Here's Rashford on the left-hand side, a Villa man last season, cutting into the penalty area. A little ball angled for Lewis Skelly, but the groans of the crowd inside Villa Park will tell you that it was just too far ahead of Lewis Skelly for the teenager to reach it. It's out of play for a throw.
It's nice, but I want to see him shoot. You know, I love the fact that Lewis Skelly's on the overlap. He wants to lure him in, but I think Marcus Rashford, you get inside against this team and you've got an avenue or some kind of way to get through to the goal and have a shot, just go for it. I think it's that type of game. You're not going to have success in everything you try because you've got so many options with the ball, but just have a go.
Ball into the Andorran penalty area. Kane's won it back, tries to cross, blocked by a defender who was down on the ground, and then it bounces away and should be cleared away by Christian Garcia, which he does, out into the full back position. The right wing back Borra plays it up the line. England have got it back and they're already looking forward, with Dan Burn winning his 3rd cap for England. Was talking yesterday about 3 more camps before the World Cup squad will be finalised, assuming England do go on and qualify. We'll be there with them in Serbia, in Belgrade on Tuesday night, so 5 Live the place to listen to that. It's a beautiful afternoon here, autumnal afternoon, blue skies, high clouds, wispy clouds, lovely breeze. It's very mild. The 7 flags on the top of the Doug Ellis stand on the opposite side of the ground, flapping away in the sunshine, and England leading 1-0. And Mark Gay playing it through to Eza, his former club mate, but the defender stepped in and it's played away downfield. And here is Ricard Fernandez, the number 9, who's been really an observer for this match as the lone striker for Andorra, and then it's miscontrolled out of play by Aaron Rodrigo for a throw into England just down in front of us. This group will be decided in the next 72 days, and the intention is for England, no slip-ups, and to get the job done without having to rely on the possibility of a playoff. Thomas Tuchel just down on the side of the pitch there, wearing a jumper. He's all navy blue, isn't he, apart from his white training shoes. He was sitting down Marcelo Bielsa style on his energy drinks box, hands in his pockets, just turns away as Madueke, whose ball led to the opening goal that came off the head of the unfortunate defender Christian Garcia. Here is Reece James, the Chelsea captain, a winner in the United States this summer, as the ball is played forward by Byrne. But here is Fernandez, the number 9, who is challenged by the recovering Byrne, and England have got it back inside their own half.
It's a lonely job for Fernandez in the up front. I mean, when he gets the ball, it's either got to dribble past 3 players and smash one in the back of the net, or he's just going to get smothered out and lose it. It's a tough afternoon for Andorra in this kind of game.
Very much. They call him Cuckoo, and he's very much alone in the nest up front. Here's Anderson, who really has caught the eye. You know, I can understand why Thomas Tuchel said yesterday, I thought it was a great turn of phrase to say playing against teams like this is trying to play through chewing gum. Yeah. But Anderson has really caught the eye on his first cap, the Nottingham Forest man, the former Newcastle United midfielder. His family are here. I was reading an article on the BBC Sport website by Kieran Kelly, who covers Newcastle United, and he was saying that his parents Helen and Ian were absolutely thrilled, of course they would be, at his call-up, and now, you know, to get the news that he's starting the match, and also the way that he has played so far in this match in the opening 32 minutes.
He's shown some real personality.
He has.
He really is. His body language, how he's gone into the roles. I said about playing how he does for his club team. Well, he certainly is doing that in an England shirt.
Yes, England with it inside their own half, with Anderson, who's dropped all the way back there, very much the holding midfielder. That's the role that he's playing, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. He's just sat as that defensive midfield player. Rice and Eze have the freedom to get in the box and move further forwards, and he's just making things tick. And
also, as you know, Matt, I was there in Bratislava for the final week of the under-21s when Elliot Anderson was absolutely pivotal to that team, and that, you know, that's a big part of the reason, I think, why he's got the nod. Thomas Tuchel was there watching the tournament. Here is Madueke on the right-hand side, curls it into the box. Isaac getting a touch on that, and it came off Christian Garcia and is out of play for England's second corner from the right.
Well, I think these are important. I think, you know, as a national team going into a tournament, set plays can be so important in your success in a tournament, and having a good organisation and being dangerous off set pieces is massive. So something for England to really work on, and that doesn't matter about the opposition. This is about quality of delivery, the organisation, what the move is, and what England have been working on.
For the first corner, Anthony Barry came out into the coaching area, but he stayed on his seat for this one. Rice to take it in front of the famous Holt end. Outswinger to the near post, came off an Andorran head. I think it was the captain, Mark Valles, who got his head to that. England back in possession with Eza. Eza has got his clubmate Declan Rice behind him. Rice swirls it in, right-footed to the back post. That's headed away by Christian Garcia. Comes back to Elliot Anderson. Shoot, they shout from the Holt end. Reece James now, his ball into the penalty area. That is volleyed away towards the halfway line, where Marcus Rashford will pick up possession, and Rashford goes for a long diagonal ball. Goalkeeper Alvarez comes and makes a good catch and then flops down onto his front.
Yeah, Dan Burn has stayed up for that attack, but I think he was the target on the corner. Declan Rice just didn't quite get enough on the set play.
They break forward, Andorra, all in yellow, or almost all in yellow. They've got blue flashes down one side of the front of their kit, blue and red. I must say it's got a touch of Romania about it to my eye, this Andorran kit, as they go all the way back to Christian Garcia, who turns and plays it back towards the edge of the penalty area. Yes, the first time the senior England men's team has played here at Villa Park for 20 years. That was Sven-Göran Eriksson's England team against a Dutch side that was described when I was looking at the match on the England Football Online website as a low-key stalemate that ended as a 0-0 draw. So that was 20 years ago. The first 22-23 minutes of this weren't too clever, but we knew that in advance of it. England knew themselves that they were going to have to find a way through.
Yeah, there was no kind of secrets coming into the game that it's going to be this type of match. You're playing against an opposition that doesn't want to come out at all, and that's how it's gone. So it's always going to be difficult to find the space and a bit slow, and like Thomas Tuchel said, a bit like chewing gum in terms of trying to get it moving. But England have the responsibility. The goal came from a forward, progressive, decisive pass from Mark Guehi that linked to something else, and we have to try and find more of those openings as this game goes on.
Portugal now 3-0 up away against Armenia. It's João Cancelo who scored the third goal. Earlier in this group, Serbia won 1-0 in Riga against Latvia. Vlahovic of Juventus scored the only goal of that match, so Serbia now 7 points in this group. England 9 points out of 9. Here is Dan Burn playing it out to the left-hand side. Rashford is there. The three Aston Villa players, current Villa players in this squad, all on the substitutes bench. Kane in a deep line position, but he's given that away, and actually Andorra will bring it forward with Rodrigo, and then it's given away just carelessly, harmlessly. These Andorra players, Ian mentioned the fact that, you know, they're playing in second divisions around Europe. Many of them play in the lower divisions of the Spanish regional leagues. You know, this is real cup heavyweights against minnows that we're watching here. But actually, you know, it's not really like an FA Cup tie, I don't think, these matches. Here's Rashford. Rashford with a dart into the penalty area on the left-hand side. Rice tried to give him it back. Defender slid in and put it behind. And I can tell you in that 5:30 kickoff in League Two, it is Bromley 1, Gillingham 0. Gillingham, who could go top with a draw or with a win, but it's a corner for England from the left. Matt Upson.
Yeah, you wish it was an FA Cup tie, John. Oh. In terms of the kind of buzz around it, it's so much of a formality. This, isn't it? Really, is the point you're making? Whereas that, you know, the jeopardy of an FA Cup's always kind of simmering there, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, but it's not really with these matches.
No.
Although it was slightly in Barcelona. But anyway, that was then, this is now. Corner, Rice takes it to the back post, Kane's after it, but Christian Garcia just in front of him got his head to it. He's very tall, Christian Garcia. He must be 6'4" or thereabouts. Not as tall as some out there. Dan Burn just making his way up towards the penalty spot. So it is another corner to England, this one from the right-hand side. England 1, Andorra 0. If you've just joined us on 5 Live, listen as well to 5 Live on the BBC Sounds app. So Declan Rice is across to take this. Big scoreboard up and above to his right. Gives it to Eza short, Rice, then back to Madueke, edge of the area. This is all Arsenal. Madueke, Eza now curling it into the back post. It's headed by Kane, goalwards, but over the top by a couple of yards. And it remains 1-0 to England. Matt Upson sitting to my left, and Phil Jones sitting another couple of seats to the left of Matt. Both went to the World Cup with England. What are your thoughts at the moment, Phil?
Yeah, again, as we thought, England in full control of the game. I think there's a couple of moments maybe where I'd want to see him a bit more aggressive, and I think Mark Guehi's probably the only pass he's given away in the whole game. There was a transition moment where defensively we were a bit unbalanced, and I think when you're playing against better opposition, those are the moments that they will hurt you. So I'd like to see us just really hone in on that rest defence, but as we expected, we're moving the ball around really well and creating some good chances now.
That's that discipline side of the game we spoke about before, isn't it?
So easy to switch off.
Of course
so
it
easy
is,
to
because
switch off.
it's so laid back.
You're a spectator. So there was a moment there where he's broken. I'm thinking, if that's an Mbappe or somebody else, that's a chance at goal.
You're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's those little details that you want to hone in on.
1-0 to England, an own goal, Christian Garcia own goal. England's previous home matches against Andorra have finished 5-0, 6-0 and 4-0. As England, again, force Andorra to drop right back into their defensive third. Gay picks out a pass. That's got a bit of pace to it, to James, and James plays it down the line, and Madueke is onto this. Former club mates, part of their success last season, Madueke with Chelsea at the FIFA Club World Cup. It's played forward. Madueke turns and is suggesting possibly that it might have been fouled, also that it might have been deflected behind. In fact, the Finnish officials have given it as a goal kick. So let's get back to Brighton and the England match at the Women's Rugby Union World Cup. Mas Faruqi.
And this time England have moved ahead for the first time in the match. Abby Wall bundling over after some sustained England pressure on the Australian try line, and Zoe Harrison has kicked the conversion as well. So it's England 12, Australia 7.
Thank you very much, Maz. Further live sport tonight on 5 Live. Do not miss Anisimova against Sabalenka, the women's final from New York at the US Open. That's from 9 o'clock. And in the doubles final right now, Joe Salisbury and Neil Scoopsey, that is in the first set, and it is 3-2 to the British pair. England 1-0 up, but now Madueke runs it forward, but just showed too much of it to Christian Garcia, then ran into him. He fell over and won the free kick. And just there, for a very, very rare moment where it looked as though England might actually have a bit of space.
It's because Andorra had the ball, and then they lost the ball. And that, for me, is a great trigger for England to then exploit it, because they've just come out a little bit. They've gone a bit wider. They've got slightly higher up the pitch. And unfortunately, Madueke just doesn't make the decision early enough and overruns it as he's kind of deciding what do I do with the ball. But the space was certainly there.
1-0 England. Half-time approaching. 3.5 minutes to go. Long ball forward for Andorra, but it comes off an England head back to Pickford, who's able to deal with that quite comfortably. Jordan Pickford winning his 77th cap here tonight. 38 clean sheets so far. Here's Gay. Now to Reece James on the right-hand side. Coldo Alvarez, the Andorran coach. Looks as though he's tempted to actually creep onto the pitch, isn't he? He's well out of his coaching area. He's been involved in every Andorra-England match. He played in the first 4 as the goalkeeper, and he's been coach for the next 4. Here's Rashford into the penalty area with a run, but it ran away from him, and the ball was cleared away downfield, away from the Barcelona man, as Rashford is now.
So he was a goalkeeper as well.
He was a long-time goalkeeper.
Coached his son probably as well.
Well, exactly. It's his son. Playing in goal here, has already made a couple of saves, made 9 saves in the match at Espanyol in June, and he is in possession now. Iker Alvarez, who clears it out of play. Mention of Rashford with his now Barcelona colours. Marcus Rashford on loan at Barcelona. He today has become the 2nd player to play for England while they were a Barcelona player. And you will know the first one.
Yes, springs to mind.
Yes. One G. Lineker, although I suspect perhaps younger listeners around the country will, when we mention the fact that Gary Lineker played for Barcelona.
Yeah.
What about young listeners who say, Dad, what was that? Here is Elliot Anderson, back to Reece James, and James curls one forward, but that is intercepted on the halfway line. Pau Babot tries to play it forward. It bounces back to Fernandez, but Elliot Anderson was there to tidy that one up. It's been the man of the first half. The only goal so far, an own goal. Reece James. Madueke, who's right on the halfway line, plays it over there to Dan Byrne, who works it onto his left foot. No John Stones, had to leave the camp this week. And Jarrell Kwanzaa, who was a late call-up to this squad, was not included in the 23. Eza, now to Madueke inside the penalty area on the right-hand side, goes for the byline, pulls it across, goalkeeper stretches, gets a hand to it, and was able to push it out to teammate Christian Garcia, who was able to scrape it away.
Well, when Gehi can feed that little ball into Eza, it's on every time. It was really nice play. Eza then sees the one-touch pass out to Madueke, and England are in. It's all about just making a forward pass again, just through the heart of the pitch.
Bromley now leading Gillingham by 2-0 in the 5:30 kickoff in League Two. We'll have more on the earlier matches at half-time. Swindon and Walsall currently the 1-2 in League Two. Ball played forward. Reece James chests it down. James in the full-back position, just running the ball along the line of the penalty area. And then Reece James pass... Declan Rice's pass, Reece James can't keep it in, and it's a throw-in to Andorra, level with the edge of their own penalty area. Yes, earlier, the big scoreline in League One, Doncaster winning 3-1 against Bradford City, so Cardiff and Doncaster level on points at the top of League One, but as I say, we'll have more on that at half-time. England leading here by 1-0, and we are in the 45th minute, so very shortly we will see as Andorra concede a free kick in the central third of the field, we will see the fourth official, Paiman Simani, come forward and show us exactly how long there is to play. In fact, we will not see Paiman because
it's the half-time pie.
It is time for half-time pies. There is no added time, and England lead by 1-0, which, Matt Upson, is the bare minimum.
Yeah, it is. And it's been a 45 minutes that we kind of anticipated, to be honest. Perhaps maybe wanted a little bit more from England in terms of zip and punch with the ball. There's been some good moments, but yeah, you're trying to break down a very defensive, negative team that pack an area of the pitch. And I think the second half, it should open up a little bit, hopefully.
Have you got much to add to that, Phil Jones?
No, I think you've said it all. It's as we'd expect, England have dominated the game, created chances. Andorra offered very, very little threat going forward, not really been able to get up the pitch at all. I don't think they've even entered the box. So, as we'd expect for England, I think we've seen Thomas Tuchel. He was a frustrated figure, shall we say, when they turned the ball over a couple of times and could have maybe attacked with a little bit more guile and that last sort of pass, the detail in the last pass. But yeah, I think they'll be comfortable.
Yeah, but thumbs up for Elliot Anderson.
I think he's been terrific. I mean, people will say, well, he's only playing Andorra, but you know the way the positions he's took up on the pitch. There's been a couple of times in the middle of the park where he's won it back, got England on the front foot again. He looks very calm, very assured, very easy at this level, and like we said before, I think he's thoroughly deserved his call up, and yeah, hopefully he can have a really good career for England.
So there we are, half time here at Villa Park in the sunshine. England 1, Andorra 0.
Anything I can ask to add to this, Matt, Phil?
I'm sure you can conjure up something.
I actually can't, actually. Is there anything you want to answer?
Surely
of your means.
Surely you've got a question, Chambers.
Back for the second half, 13 minutes to 6 o'clock. Dan Morsley has the news.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Scotland Yard says around 150 people have been arrested in London after they showed their support for the banned group Palestine Action. They'd gathered in Parliament Square displaying handwritten signs to oppose the group's ban under terrorism legislation. Sir Keir Starmer's reshuffle has continued with changes among junior ministers today. Among the moves, Dame Diana Johnson, who was the policing minister, has been transferred to the Department for Work and Pensions, and Dan Jarvis has been given a role in the Cabinet Office in addition to his post as security minister. Nigel Farage has admitted it could take months to stop small boats crossing the Channel after promising to achieve that within 2 weeks of being elected. The Reform UK leader was speaking on the final day of the party's conference, where he also made a plea to party members to discuss their disagreements in private if they wanted to succeed. And more than 700 migrants are thought to have crossed the Channel in small boats so far today. They're the first crossings for 11 days following a spell of poor conditions at sea.
When pressed on that, when challenged on whether that was achievable, he said, well, it would only happen 2 weeks after legislation was passed, and admitted that that could take months or even longer, although he did say that he hoped it would happen more quickly.
The Women's Football Weekly has found a new home in its very own feed.
We've called it, unsurprisingly, BBC Women's Football Weekly.
We'll continue to bring you the latest news, insights and analysis from across the women's game.
They're throwing some big money around. I want to see how they line up, how everyone fits in.
Episodes will be available every Tuesday as ever, alongside special, unfiltered player interviews from the biggest names in the WSL and beyond.
To make sure you never miss an episode, just search for BBC Women's Football Weekly and hit subscribe once you get there.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
So it's been a battle for England's men in that first half in the World Cup qualifier. They lead Andorra by a goal. So it's also been a battle for England's women in the Rugby Union World Cup. Maz Faruqi.
But they have just scored a third try just before half-time to stretch their lead, Mark, from a line-out, finished by Sardia Kabea, converted by Zoe Harrison, and the half-time whistle has just gone. So at the break, England 19, Australia 7, England on course to win Pool A and therefore play Scotland in the quarter-finals in 8 days' time.
Sports Extra if you want to listen to that. So let's round up everything that's happened in the EFL today. Doncaster have gone second in League One after beating Bradford 3-1. Difficult afternoon for AFC Wimbledon. They were beaten 3-0 at Bolton and reduced to 9 men in that game as well. Red cards in the game between Lincoln and Wigan. Both had a man sent off as they drew 2-2. Charlie Wallens got a 95th minute winner for Leyton Orient at Port Vale. They won that 3-2. Rotherham beat Exeter by a goal to 0. Wycombe got their first home win since April in the league as they beat Mansfield 2-0. Peterborough stay bottom. Huddersfield came from a goal down to win 3-2 and deny them their first win of the season. So just 1 point from 7 games now for Darren Ferguson.
I feel I've got a good trust and good belief in my personnel. And I think a lot of the players we've brought in are very good, but some are still not fit with injuries and what have you. So yeah, I don't think we're far away. I've seen a lot of positives today. Now we've got a full week to work with them, which will make it easier, you know.
And people will talk about pressure. You've been in the game a long time. Does that make it easier, the experience, to deal with tough moments like this?
Yeah, it does. Your experience, I have to use all my experience, and the reality of it is you have to find a way of winning games of football, or you are going to come under scrutiny and under pressure, and I'll have to take that on my shoulders. That's part and parcel of being a manager. But like I said earlier, whenever I have had success, we have gone through runs of periods of seasons where you don't win games of football. The added pressure is it's the start of the season, we're on 1 point after 7. You know, you can't keep losing games. Everyone knows that. But I don't feel any added pressure apart from the fact that I try and get wins for my fans and my team.
The other game in League One saw Plymouth put 4 past Stockport, so they're out of the relegation place as Stockport slipped to 9th. Swindon have gone top of League 2 before the tea time game between Bromley and Gillingham. Swindon won 3-1 at Barrow. Bromley are beating Gillingham 2-0 at the moment. That would take them above Swindon to the top of the table, but they're only midway through the first half there, so there's plenty of time to go. Walsall are also on 15 points. Like Swindon, they were reduced to 10 men, but held on to beat Chesterfield 1-0. Here's Matt Sadler.
It's a satisfying win because they're a really good team, recruited well again. Their squad's littered with very, very good players. So I knew how big a game it was from our perspective to show the best side of us, and I knew that we had to show the best side of us. which I think we did. I thought we started the game really well, got right on the front foot to start with, which was really pleasing. Had a load of longer throws and corners, and we were trying to switch the play as much as we could from one side to the other. Probably the one thing I'd say is we didn't quite do that as much as I wanted us to in that in possession stuff, and then maybe we forced it a little bit at times, and then when we did do it, we didn't quite open it up in the way that we wanted to in the game. So that was probably some of our stuff which prevented more chances. I said to the lads at half time, just felt like there's a little bit more from us, a little bit more tempo. That's not to say go flying out after them, but that's to say there's times when we can trigger a little bit quicker. But I thought that's me being picky. I thought out of possession we were fantastic today. I really did. Stifled the way that we knew they wanted to play. But we blocked and we headed and we kicked and we scrapped and we showed a way of stopping chances on our goal, which was really important today. Against what I keep saying, they're a very good team.
Walsall boss Matt Sadler. Elsewhere in League 2, Newport 2, Bristol Rovers 3. Shrewsbury are out of the bottom 2 with the 3-1 win at Barnet. Oldham won 1-0 at Cambridge. Michael Mellon getting the goal for Oldham. Just joined them on loan for Burnley, now playing for his dad, who is the Oldham manager. Cheltenham are off the bottom after a 1-0 win at home to Accrington. Colchester and Crewe drew 1-1. Crawley won 1-0 at Harrogate. Grimsby were 3-0 up at MK Dons at half-time. MK Dons reduced to 10 as well, but they ended up holding on to Grimsby. Finished MK Dons 2, Grimsby 3, takes Grimsby into 4th. Notts County beat Fleetwood 1-0. And as I say, Salford beat Tranmere 3-1. As I say, tea time game, Bromley lead Gillingham by 2-0. In the National League, Altrincham 2, Sutton 1, Borehamwood 3, Morecambe 0, Boston 1, Solihull Moors 2, Carlisle 3, Truro 0, Leaders Forest Green Rovers beat Hartlepool 1-0, Rochdale 2, Braintree 0, Southend 3, Halifax 0, Tamworth 1, Eastleigh 0, Woking 5, Gateshead 0, Yeovil 1, York 3. The tea time game between Aldershot and Brackley is goalless. The game between Scunthorpe and Wealdstone was abandoned following a shoulder injury to one of the Wealdstone players. It means that's twice now in successive matches that Scunthorpe have had their game abandoned. This one today, and then also during the week, their game at Eastleigh was abandoned in second half stoppage time with the score at 1-1 after a clash of heads and a player from both sides having to go off in that. The score today, when this was abandoned, Scunthorpe were 2-1 up at home to Wealdstone. In the Scottish Championship today, Morton 0, Wraith 1 and Ross County 1, Arbroath. Let's switch to the Women's Super League. Arsenal 4, London City Lionesses 1 at the Emirates. Here's the Arsenal boss, Rennie Sleekers.
The result is, of course, convincing if you see a 4-1, but it was a hard game for us. So we really had to figure it out at the start of the game. And then, of course, you get the setback with the penalty. They lead with 1-0. And then you have to show strength as a team. And that's what we did, I think. Players on pitch, they stayed very calm. They wanted to find solutions. And I think we grew into the game really well. And we did what we wanted to do. We knew this was a new opponent in the league, so we had to figure it out, but that's what we did again. And then in the second half we have much better control, and then especially when the game changers come on in the second half, they are so impactful for us today. In
WSL 2, Southampton beat Ipswich by 4-0. In Super League today, Warrington 12, Leigh 34 is how it finished. Leigh safely in the playoff places. Warrington will miss out. Let's head to finals weekend at the US Open. Russell Fuller watching the men's doubles final.
And the first set has gone the way of the British pair, Joe Salisbury and Neil Skupski, trying to become the first all-British team to win the US Open men's doubles since 1903. They've taken the first set 6-3 against Marcel Granollers and Horacio Zeballos with just the one break of serve. Joe Salisbury is a little bit of a US Open specialist. He's already won the title here 3 times, but not with Neil Skupski, who was on the losing end of one of those defeats in 2022.
Fascinating women's final later this evening, which you'll be able to hear on 5 Live from 9 o'clock. Sabalenka against Anisimova. Annabel Croft is with us. And it's a fascinating final because of demons, isn't it, really?
That's a very good way of putting it. Well, Sabalenka has lost 2 Grand Slam finals this year. Obviously, in Australia, she lost to Madison Keys, and then at the French Open against Coco Gauff. So she is absolutely desperate to win the US Open again. Remember, she won it last year, so she wants to retain the title, but also just to win a slam this year to add to her tally. But Amanda Anisimova is American. She's had this unbelievable comeback after the drumming she took at Wimbledon, 6-love to Swiatek. She beat Swiatek here in the quarters, backed it up with a win against Osaka, and she's going to have the crowd with her. So there's a lot at stake here, and it's a lot of interest in it.
I obviously use the word demons. I wonder for Anisimova whether actually just getting past Swiatek in the semi-finals takes away some of what happened in that Wimbledon final.
Oh, no question about it. I think that it's going to turn into one of the great sporting stories of all time, actually, because no one was going to forget that 6-love, traumatic, humiliating loss that she suffered. But the way that she's turned that round and the way she's worked on herself, and I think a lot of people can identify with, difficult situations in their life, but it's how you respond to it. And oh my goodness, she's responded to it with flying colours. And I think she's also made some great statements about at Wimbledon. She surprised herself. She didn't really expect herself to be winning any matches at all, let alone get to her first Grand Slam final at Wimbledon. But then the way that she's come here, she said, I feel differently. I've worked on myself mentally. I actually watched that final back and tried to go through the trauma of watching it again. But she overcame it and, as you say, beat Swiatek. So I think it's an amazing story.
On the men's side of things, Annabelle, people will have their own loyalties, obviously, I get that, and their own favourite players. But for the neutral, I feel like we're at a level now where there would almost be immense disappointment if a final wasn't between Sinner and Alcaraz.
Yeah, I feel a little bit the same, to be honest, because, obviously there was a lot of focus on the match yesterday with Alcaraz and Djokovic, and that was experience against youth, really. And Djokovic said in the press conference afterwards, I just can't live with these guys now over best of 5 sets. But, now that we have it, I think all eyes were on, were we going to get another Sinner-Alcaraz final? I mean, they split all of the slams last year. They've, pretty much split them this year. So let's see what happens. But I think the shock that Alcaraz lost, in that Wimbledon final to Sinner, I think it's completely galvanised him. He's really been very focused. He hasn't dropped a set. I think his level has just been a tiny bit higher than Sinner's, but wow, what a rivalry they're already creating. We're all talking about it, and it's exciting.
Until they serve up a duff one, Ross, we're going to want more of it, aren't we?
Yeah, well, every final feels like a bit of a duff one after the French Open final. That's the danger. The Wimbledon final was very good, but didn't quite match up to what happened at Roland Garros. But you're right, and they've got a history everywhere they play. And there was a famous match here, Mark, in 2022, which Yannick Sinner says is the match where he really thought this rivalry with Carlos Alcaraz was going to be something pretty special. And that was a match that lasted 5 hours and 15 minutes, finished at 10-3 in the morning, and it was won by Alcaraz in 5 sets. So yes, the way they play, the ferocity with which they hit the ball, and the fact that they are by the largest margin you could imagine the number 1 and number 2 players in the world. There is such a gulf between them and the rest. And a question for another day, of course, is that with Novak Djokovic fading physically, who on earth can lay a glove on them in 2026?
Thank you both. Coverage from 9 this evening here on 5 Live of that women's final. England's women lead Australia 19-7 at the Rugby Union World Cup. That's on Sports Extra if you want to listen to that. So it looks like it will be an England-Scotland quarter-final. Wales earlier beaten 28-25 by Fiji. Back to Villa Park. England 1, Andorra 0. Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, the two teams are out. Neither side has made a change at half-time as we just wait for our Finnish referee, Mohamed El Amara, to get the game underway. And it does indeed restart with England in their white shirts and navy shorts playing from right to left as we look. Defending the Holt end, attacking the North Stand against an Andorran side, all in yellow. Pickford then in goal, James Gahey, Byrne and Lewis Skelly as the defence, Anderson as the holding midfielder with Madueke on the right, Rice, Eza and Rashford on the left behind Harry Kane, the England captain. And as for Andorra, Alvarez is in goal, a back 5 of Borra, Llobera, Christian Garcia, who scored the own goal, Oliveira and San Nicolas with Rodrigo Valles, Babot, Serbos the midfield and Richard Fernandez as the lone striker. England then leading by a goal to 0. That own goal from Christian Garcia, a header from Madueke's cross on the right after 25 minutes, and already England are camped deep inside the Andorra half. As still we have clear blue skies here at Villa Park on a breezy but bright evening. We've talked a lot about chewing gum. I noticed that Thomas Tuchel was having a good old chew as he bounced his way down the touchline. I wonder what words of wisdom he imparted to his players, Matt Upson.
It'd be interesting to know, wouldn't it? I mean, England have started probably with a little bit more purpose, which you would expect after the half-time break, because the messages would have been hammered home in terms of what they're going to need in the second half. But speed of movement, speed of the ball in terms of passing, 1 and 2 touch, the fewer touches you can take on the ball, the better for me, and just get it moving across and through the lines quickly.
If this was any other game, you'd be saying, oh, it's just the one goal, the other team is still in it, but there is no sense of jeopardy whatsoever from an Andorran side, 174th in the world, who will struggle to get out of their own half.
It creates a false environment, doesn't it? It's a false setting, and a couple of loose things in the first half on the turnover of possession he won't be happy with, but because it's a false setting, it doesn't get punished, or there's no opportunity for Andorra to even get in England's 18-yard box.
In many ways, Phil Jones, it is like a training exercise, isn't it? Played in front of 45,000 people.
It is. It's attack v defence. Has been throughout the whole game. For me, the big one is the timing of the runs, especially when Madueke comes inside and James goes on the outside. The timing is so key. Too soon and too late, it doesn't work. So just concentrate on those little details, and hopefully we'll see some more goals.
So England lead by 1-0. Andorra then had a free kick. They had an opportunity to play the ball forward. They played it back, and then ultimately when it went all the way back to the goalkeeper, they lose the ball. Harry Kane, right-hand side, flag stays down. He delivers the cross, and it is cut out, and then the late flag goes up, and it will be a free kick to Andorra. But that is an example of their lack of adventure, isn't it, with that free kick, to play it back rather than forward. Yeah, I mean, they've got an opportunity there from inside their own half for the goalkeeper to take the free kick and launch one into England's box, and they don't do it.
I find it interesting they play short, don't they? You'd think when they had those kind of things, like get the team up and get it long and maybe try and pick up a second ball.
Well, that's a big opportunity for them to do that.
Borough beats Lewis Skelly in the air, goes through towards Fernandez. Bebot then plays it forward, and then that's a little bit better. Boris continued the run on this near right-hand side, and he enters the England half. He's level with the penalty area. Back then out to Servos, who will lift it into the edge of the penalty area, and there was Reece James, legs wide apart, well positioned with a stance, and just guides the header back towards Jordan Pickford, who throws it out towards Gehi, and Gehi carries the ball right to the centre circle, short of the halfway line, out towards James, back heels it then towards Madueke, midway through the Andorran half. England still lead by 1-0. BBC Radio 5 Live, and also available on the BBC Sounds app. And after 6:06 at 7:30, 08085 909 693 is the usual number to call Chris Sutton and Natalie Pike. They'll be on air until 9 o'clock, and then it'll be the US Open Tennis Women's Final between Aryna Sabalenka and Amanda Anisimova. And tomorrow from 6, all the build-up to the men's final in that US Open Tennis for the latest instalment of Yannick Sinner against Carlos Alcaraz. So plenty of live sport still over this weekend to look forward to. Byrne, midway through his England half, plays the ball forward to Lewis Skelly, lets the ball settle, assesses his options, hits a raking ball forward towards Madueke. One bounce and he's onto this on that far side to right, darts in field, into the penalty area, cuts it back. Eza, one touch, good save by the goalkeeper, comes out towards Marcus Rashford, and he's put it wide. Inside left channel, the penalty area, on his right foot, look for the curler, and it was wide of that far post. England still lead by 1-0, 5 minutes into the second half.
Well, I would have backed Marcus Rashford to hit the target all day long there. He loves that kind of angle. Great run from Madueke. I think Eze could hit it first time, if I'm honest. He has a touch to shoot, but the cut back from Madueke's got such a lovely weight about the pass. I think it could go first time. It's a decent save from the keeper off the shot, and then Marcus Rashford has that angle coming inside on his right foot just to whip it into the far post and knocks it about a yard wide. Good attack from England in the sense that they were positive, and Madueke, lovely driving run from the right-hand side.
You were expecting Eza to get the shot away first time as well?
Yeah, I was. I thought the run from Madueke was terrific. You know, the way he drives into the box at the speed he does, it's very difficult for a defender to even get a touch on the ball. But yeah, I think I would have backed Marcus to score that as well.
One-handed save from Iker Alvarez, who's now closed down by Harry Kane. Anderson wins the ball, it breaks towards Harry Kane. Anderson, first effort blocked, almost comes back to him at the second chance, but then Max Rivera was there to get the ball away. Madueke now enters the penalty area, slips into the path of Harry Kane, stands over the cross and caught at the near post by Iker Alvarez.
Wow, what a great chance that would have been for Anderson to get a goal on his debut. Brilliant hunting of the ball. Andorra trying to play out. Kane's putting the goalkeeper under pressure. He plays a straight pass, but Anderson reads it so well. He does brilliantly with that, I must say. His senses in and around that area, his instinct to go and sniff the ball out's great. Gets played back to him, but Kane just puts it a fraction behind him.
Is that a bad miss or a good save?
I think it's a decent save. It's slightly behind him, isn't it?
Slightly behind him in a scooped effort, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was quite hard. His momentum was going forward, and it was just behind him. It was like a straight leg, kind of dragging the ball from behind to try and score.
Let me throw it back at you. Good save or a bad miss?
I thought it was a bad miss.
I could sense that.
Yeah, no, I thought he'd be disappointed with that. I think he could have maybe got a bit more contact on the ball, but good save in the end.
Phil Jones and Matt Upson, who are with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live at Villa Park, 7 minutes into the second half of this World Cup qualifier in Group K, where earlier Serbia won away at Latvia by 1-0 to move to within 2 points of England. But England are 1-0 up. But Andorra have got a free kick that Servos is going to take, left-hand side, left-footed, delivered into the penalty area. Rice heads it up rather than away. Anderson is in the thick of it, and an opportunity then it comes to Ian Oliveira, who puts it wide left-footed. Ian Oliveira, who for the last 10 minutes in that game at the Espanyol Stadium back in June was being, let's say teased rather than taunted, because he has Ian on the back of his shirt. And the England fans, and they were there in good number, much to their delight, were going, Ian, Ian, chants like that, and Ian, give us a wave. As there is a break on. Rice looks for Rashford. Flag stays down. Rashford, left-hand side of the penalty area, gets it back. As the first time. Again, another late flag. It wouldn't have counted. But as a left-footer, has skied it into the north stand anyway. However, the plus point from an England point of view, Phil, is that 8 minutes into this second half, and England have created at least 3 openings.
Yeah, really, really positive. I just thought Declan Rice should have played the ball a little bit sooner. He made a great run, Marcus Rashford. There's no one ever going to keep up with him, and he just delayed the pass. And unfortunately, Marcus was offside.
I think if he plays it earlier and just slightly inside, I think he can go for goal.
And he also has more space to run into.
Yeah,
if he plays
absolutely.
It early.
It surprised me he had another touch there, Declan. He just delayed that ability for him to get behind.
If Ian Oliveira is now a cult hero with England fans, he moved in the summer to Numancia, in the 4th tier of the regional leagues in Spain. Portugal have got a 4th goal against Armenia. Cristiano Ronaldo again, and there's been a try in the Women's Rugby Union World Cup. Masfaruki.
And it's their 4th try, the bonus point try for England at the start of the second half. Sadia Kabea with her 2nd of the match, converted by Zoe Harrison. England 26, Australia 7.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra.
Would you go Ian on the back if you're...
Would I go Ian?
Would you go Ian? Yeah.
No, I'd go Dennis.
You'd go Dennis, would you?
Yeah, but I think that must be a,
What do you think of the first name on the old back of the shirt?
Oh, I didn't know you had a choice.
Oh, I think it's something you can request, isn't it?
Yeah. I hope that the England fans, though, weren't taking the mickey because of the, Ian is one of those names that's going to follow a Nigel or a Gary. I think that Nigel's become extinct, hasn't it? The name Nigel,
yeah,
or almost extinct.
Yeah.
As it goes in search of the ball, and the aforementioned Ian gets there first, and it's cleared away.
That's a good strong name, Ian.
Here is Byrne. Lewis Skelly over the halfway. Oh, it looks an awkward one. His legs just seem to give way. Trying to get back into the challenge, taken off by the long-haired figure of Servos in the midfield, then he's fouled from behind by Lewis Skelly.
He's kind of dived on the ball there, didn't he? Servos worked really hard actually to win the ball back. Lewis Skelly just slipped up initially, but then I think Andorra doing anything they can just to buy a bit of breathing space.
And that free kick is curled by Jovera, and then tidying up, running into a central area, was the right back, Reece James. And then the ball is hit by James, and Madueke will give chase, but it bounces once, twice, and it goes out of play for an Andorran throw. We're 10 minutes into the second half. England are leading by 1-0, and the England substitutes are warming up, Phil, just away towards our left. When do you think that Thomas Tuchel starts to think of a change?
Yeah, probably in the next 5 or 10 minutes. I think he'll try and make a few substitutions. I don't know what you think about there, Matt, but Andorra have a great opportunity there to put the ball in the box, and he tries to play a quick one.
Yeah.
Just just don't understand that one.
I just think that also it got them so high up the pitch that the ball over the top was on for one. So it was a poor quality ball over the top, because I think the quality of the England players, was it Lewis Skelly with the pass? Yeah, should have the better quality to keep that in play there. Madawek is in.
Villa Park, the attendance here today is 39,202. So quite a bit short of that 42,640 capacity at Villa Park, as Oliveira plays it down the line. That's quite a lot of San Nicolas. He plays it in low in towards the penalty area. Trying to hold it up was Fernandez, but in his eagerness to do so, he's given away a free kick outside the England half. And in fact, talk about England making a change. Andorra are going to make a couple of changes, and we're going to see Joel Guillen come on, as well as Guillem Lopez. So they're the couple of changes that they're going to make. Now, Lopez is a striker, so you would think that he would come on for Fernandez. And as for Guillen, he is a defender. Only 2 appearances in his last 8 internationals for the 24-year-old, but Andorra only trailing by a 1-0. England, who've won all 7 previous meetings, they've only faced Luxembourg 9 out of 9 and San Marino 8 out of 8 more often in international history, with a 100% winning record. But now we'll see those changes, I would imagine, for Coldo Alvarez, as the 4th official hoists up the electronic board, and as expected, it will be Richard Fernandez who goes off. Played 46 of the last 52 internationals, so he makes way for the French-born Guillem Lopez. Only his 4th appearance. He did reach the Montpellier B level before being released. He was the top scorer in the Andorran League last season. And then Guillen comes on as well, and the player going off is going to be, actually, is that Marc Valles? Yeah, Marc Valles is going off. His 101st cap. Who is the 5th centurion to play for Andorra. So Guillen, a defender for a midfielder. Again, another defensive move from Coldo Alvarez as we approach the hour mark. And after that flurry of activity, those substitutions, it's just disrupted the game somewhat.
Yeah, it has. And England were just building a little bit of momentum. Andorra got higher up the pitch a couple of times, which actually left them really vulnerable. And you thought England are going to fashion a chance out of it, but they've got an opportunity now.
Eza feeds it down the right-hand side. Madueke is onto it. So Nicholas backpedals, stroke back then towards James. James now with Gehi. Gehi gives it back to the Chelsea defender. Madueke now, of course, of Arsenal, looks up, delivers an in-swinging cross on the stretch. It's headed away by Christian Garcia and cleared, and then that will go out of play for a throw, and it remains 1-0 as the ball is gently handed to Lewis Skelly by Coldo Alvarez. It's actually his first start, because his 2 appearances for Arsenal this season have both been off the bench against Manchester United and Leeds. Only 44 minutes of Premier League football for the Arsenal player, so this is a good run out for him.
It's a great run out for him, very welcome run out. I mean, it's been quite harsh to find himself in that situation, but good for him to get 90 minutes under his belt if he stays on.
Gehi forward, right-hand side. James midway through the Andorran half. Been playing now for an hour. BBC Radio 5 Live. England still leading through that Christian Garcia own goal as Rice to Rashford. Rashford passes the ball back. This is Dan Burn, forward of the centre circle. Gives it back to Rashford now, of course, at Barcelona. Runs in field. Anderson gets a little touch. Helped on its way by Burn. Gehi. Rashford now has gone central, collects it off the central defender, chips it out towards Lewis Skelly, takes it on the side of the chest, and in fact, flag goes up on the far side. And disappointing from an England point of view.
Shouldn't be offside in that situation, should be looking all the way along the line, being able to see the last defensive player.
England coming into this on the back of that poor performance against Senegal back in June, which was actually their first defeat in 46 games since 2019, where they took the lead and then ended up losing. They've taken the lead here through an own goal. Had a couple of chances in the second half since, as now Eze controls the ball and runs over the halfway line. He's got two players, Kane and Madueke, going on ahead of him on the right as he turns and comes back inside. Bypasses Anderson, finds Lewis Skelly. Rashford, 8 yards in from the left touchline, accelerates with pace into the penalty area and gets a corner. That was a little better, more direct.
Yeah, that's Marcus Rashford at his best, when he's got time and space to run into and commit defenders, and he wins a corner.
61 minutes played. Andorra have everybody back, England have everybody forward.
Yeah, there hasn't been quite enough of that, has there? That kind of aggressive decision making, certainly with the quality we have in wide and attacking areas, just to go at this Andorran defence. They've been relatively stubborn, but they've been relatively comfortable in terms of those 1v1 situations.
Rice waits to take the corner kick in front of the north stand. England play from right to left. On this near side, the left curls deep towards the far post. Byrne heads it back into the penalty area, and in the end, as it drops, it is volleyed away by Guillem Lopez, and it'll be an England throw, 10 yards up from the corner flag, in front of the tunnel area for those of you who know Villa Park. 62 minutes played on BBC Radio 5 Live. Rice was ready to take the throw, and in fact he's going to leave it now for Lewis Skelly. And he goes back towards Byrne. Byrne now in field of a left-footed pass to Gahey. Runs forward, closed down by Babot in the midfield. Out to the right for Madueke. Carries it, right side of the penalty area, back towards Reece James. Ball in, headed away by Ian Oliveira. Picked back up by James once again, who's able to turn and then passes the ball back out towards Madueke. Here now is Eze with his back to goal, right corner of the area, and England lose the ball. Then they quickly win it back. Aaron Rodrigo was too slow, dawdled on it, and you have to be far sharper with that. So once again they go back into their defensive shape to try and frustrate England, who still have this slender lead. And then Madueke, that was sloppy, gives it away, and Servos can run forward, and Borra will venture into the England half. A rare foray from Andorra into England territory, but doesn't keep the ball in play, and it will be an England throw-in. They still lead by 1-0.
I think while there's just no risk in this game at all, it all boils down to how hard and how much do England want to force this issue and really start to get this ball moving a little bit quicker. It's not really ignited in the second half. You'd have thought it might have had a slight change of gear, but it's been pretty similar.
Here is Gahey. Rashford, he's come in field, which allows Lewis Skelly to provide the width on the left. They try and combine on this near side. Level with the penalty area. Rashford now towards Rice, lays it off to Lewis Skelly. Again, every yellow shirt back behind the ball, about 25 yards out from their own goal. Rice towards Byrne, trying to prize the way through. England have struggled against sides that go in there and defend as deep as Andorra are. Rashford passes it back towards Rice. Can't recall on too many occasions them actually getting round the back of Andorra.
No, not at all. There's not been enough long-range shots either from me from outside the box. And once you get into that kind of area, just get some shots off, test the goalkeeper. Not really had enough of those efforts on goal.
Not on many occasions has this Andorran defence been stretched as they sit and defend extremely deep. They clear the ball away 64 minutes in. Gahey. Thomas Tuchel is going to be making changes, and it is going to be the Newcastle duo of Livramento and Anthony Gordon who are going to be coming on. Just wonder about Morgan Gibbs-White. I thought he had a fine game against Senegal in June, probably one of the few bright sparks on what was a poor performance against the African side in that friendly international. Morgan Rogers is going to be coming on, so he'll get a good ovation. What are your thoughts, Phil Jones?
Yeah, I'd like to see, when the ball does go out wide into the wide areas with Madueke and Rashford, there are going to be times where, it's very easy for them to turn the cross down or turn the run directly at the defender down because they're doubling up on either side. But once the ball does get transferred to the other side, I'd like, they're going to lose it now and again, and you've got to accept that. But I'd just like to see them just be so much more positive when the ball does get into that area.
Well, it says shows with the shots on target, Phil, didn't it? Five shots on target with all, 80 2% possession.
Yeah, and
it's not enough, is it?
I can understand, sometimes it's 1 versus 3 out here, but sometimes just go and have a little run and see what you can produce.
England only once in the last 27 internationals have scored 5 goals or more. That was against Ireland back in November. I remember with Gareth Southgate, they put 7 past North Macedonia, 6 against Iran in the World Cup. But once again, the performance, we're yet to see anything of this Thomas Tuchel identity. This is his 5th game. And once again, it is just 1-0 against the minnows of Andorra. And we are almost midway through the second half. Livramento, Rodgers and Gordon Waite. Cross comes in from the right-hand side, downward headed by Declan Rice. And there is the second goal. Declan Rice, 6 yards out, downward header. England increase their lead, 2-0.
Well, it's a good cross in the box. And Declan Rice arriving at the back post, right on cue. He's made that run many times this afternoon. The ball hasn't been coming in to his area or with any kind of quality, and it's a bit of a looped ball in from Reece James in the right back position. It's a simple build-up, it comes out to James, and he just kind of lifts the ball really a little bit casually, but it's got a nice bend on it. It lands right at that back post area. Andorra not locking in, not really tracking their man, not marking properly, and Rice with a textbook downward header bounces it onto the ground and into the far post corner. Good header.
It's his 6th goal for England. It's his first in about 11 months. His last was against Finland last October. Phil Jones.
Yeah, very good goal. I think sometimes in games like this and against opposition like this, there's an expectancy to try and, play about 5 or 6 passes and try and play this intricate little combinations down the left-hand side, the right-hand side through the middle. It was nice just to see them put the ball into the box, and it was a late and fast run from Declan Rice, and he's powered one down into the bottom corner, and the goalkeeper's got no chance.
And indeed, it was his last bit of the action as well, because he is off, as is Marcus Rashford and Reece James, Tino Livramento, Morgan Rodgers and Anthony Gordon. England have made a change. 5 Live will make a change. Here is John Murray through to full time.
Thank you, Ian. Tino Livramento coming on for his 2nd cap, and actually his 1st appearance under Thomas Tuchel. But impressed, like Elliot Anderson at the under-21s in Slovakia. So he comes on for Reece James. So 3-way change there. Declan Rice's last action, actually, Matt Upson, was to head England's 2nd goal into the net. He's off as well.
Yeah, he'll be happy to get that goal. I could tell he was kind of like starting to get a bit edgy about feeling that England should be further along in this game, and he's absolutely right, they should be. It's nice for him to get that final touch and to score the goal, and we'll see what happens from here on in. But yeah, I think looking at the pattern and what we want from England and Thomas Tuchel, as Deno mentioned a moment ago, it's hard to really pick that out. But does the game really lend itself to being able to identify that? I'm not sure it does, because it's such an obscure match against this kind of team that aren't going to have any kind of effort to get in England's box.
Yes, and here at Villa Park there is an Aston Villa player a current Villa player on the pitch now with Morgan Rodgers. But here's Madweke, edge of the area. England now leading by 2-0. BBC Radio 5 Live. Lines are open for 606, by the way. They are waiting for your calls. Natalie Pike and Chris Sutton on 08085 909 693. Portugal 5-0 up now in Armenia in their opening World Cup qualifier. First match in that group, Group F. João Felix with a 2nd goal there. And if you didn't hear it earlier, Serbia did win 1-0 away against Latvia in this group. So Miles Lewis-Skelly is unable to control the ball. In fact, I think that might have been given as a free kick against him. So Andorra have got the ball. England 2, Andorra 0. And another update from Maz Faruqi, who's watching the England-Australia Women's Rugby Union World Cup match.
And Australia down to 14. Fatela Moleka sent to the bin. England taking advantage under the post. Kelsey Clifford with the try. Zoe Harrison adding the extras. England are stretching clear now, John. England 33, Australia 7.
OK, thank you, Maz. That's on BBC 2, by the way. Listen to it on Sports Extra. That's where the radio commentary is. And Vitality Blasters on Sports Extra 3. Here on 5 Live, England with Anthony Gordon down the left wing, who goes to ground. And suggestion being that he had his heels clipped by Borra, but referee El Amara is saying that he just fell over.
He should give a yellow card then. Should absolutely give a yellow card. I think Anthony Gordon feels the tug of his shorts and then fell to the ground. So, yeah, it is a yellow card.
Anyway, it's the ball ran away for a goal kick that Andorra take. Very straightforward second goal, wasn't it? Reece James crossing the right, Declan Rice back post, header down in 2-0.
But is that not the beauty of it, though, John? You know, the simple things, the quality, and as long as it's done in a simple fashion and early like it was, then that's where goals come from.
Lewis Skelly with a throw infield to the debutant Elliot Anderson. Now out to Madueke on the right-hand side. Livramento on the overlap. He stabs it to Rodgers inside the box. Madueke then battling to keep possession against 2-3 Andorra players. England continue to play towards the north stand, which they are just beginning to dismantle, by the way, the north stand at Villa Park. Gordon into the penalty area now for Eza. Bounce of the ball as he's challenged. Has to play it back to Gay. They shout to Gay to shoot. Livramento with a cross. Gordon with a falling header. I'm not sure he got any contact on that. Actually, the referee's given that as a free kick to Andorra in their own box.
Didn't quite see where the foul is there. Gordon gets into the box, which I like to see. He's come out on the left-hand side, but when the ball's on the right, get yourself in the box. He's done that well since he's come on.
Have you spotted that, by the way? North stand, top tier. See, right at the back, they've just begun taking the panels off the roof.
Right.
So that's the very start of the rebuilding of that famous stand here at Villa Park. Lots of former Villa players have received their legacy caps today, including our very own Dion Dublin.
I saw him earlier, pitch side.
Yeah, and players like Tony Morley was given his. Gordon Cowan's family received his legacy cap. Peter With as well, whose name is up there on the top of the stand, the man who scored the European Cup final winning goal, former summariser with us in my early days, Peter With, and Brian Little as well, one of the first managers that I used to deal with, great player for Aston Villa, and more as well. Here's Dan Byrne for England. Byrne plays it square to his right to Mark Gay. Gay just shuffles it forward, now gives it to Livramento on the right-hand side. Just wonder, 3 changes made, Matt. Who else might you want to see from that list of England substitutes here? Livramento, tall, the right back. Thought he was excellent last week when I saw him for Newcastle. This time last week playing as the left wing back, but right back today more conventionally.
Yeah, he's been playing extremely well, hasn't he? And I can understand why Thomas Tuchel wants him in his squad. I think Gibbs White would be good to see on the pitch, but you know, how many attacking players can you fit into this system? He's already made those kind of changes. And I suppose Jed Spence as well coming into the squad would be nice for him, wouldn't it, to get on the pitch?
Yes, Ruben Loftus-Cheek's among the substitutes as well after his recall as England played towards the edge of the box. Morgan Rogers trying to find a way through, but it's just a line of yellow shirts, Andorra shirts, and in the end over there on the left-hand side, Moises San Nicolas plays it out of play off Rogers for a throw-in to Andorra halfway inside their own half. So if you just switched onto us, 2-0 England lead, 1 goal in the first half, the Christian Garcia own goal, which was set up by the pass from Madueke, and as we've just mentioned, Declan Rice heading in the second. We're going to see another Aston Villa player. Before you answered that question, the next England substitute is going to be Ezri Konsa.
I'm happy to see him as well, actually. I'm kind of surprised, shall I say surprised. I mean, I thought he could have, well, we discussed before the game, for the balance of the 2 centre-backs. Surprised he maybe didn't start the game with Gehi on that right-hand side. Probably favoured him more.
2-0 to England, who are in possession. Harry Kane, who wasn't too far away from Christian Garcia when he headed it into his own net, but he can't have that one to add to the 73 goals that he scored. And he has scored in every Thomas Tuchel match so far, Harry Kane. And in actual fact, if he scores today, he'll equal his own personal record of scoring in 6 consecutive England internationals. It's out of play for a throw on the far side, and we will see Mark Gay, after the eventful start to the season that he's had, the Crystal Palace central defender, the Crystal Palace captain, FA Cup winning captain last season, and Ezri Konsa's going to come on for him.
Yeah, nice. A round of applause for Mark Gehi as he comes off the pitch, and Konsa will step in in what is a very comfortable game for a centre-back to come on. It's all about just keeping your concentration, using the ball, and I'm sure he'll enjoy playing it at his home ground.
13th cap for Ezri Konsa, who, remember, was part of the squad at the Euros in Germany last year. England 2, Andorra 0. England get the ball back in play, bring it forward, and Dan Burn to his Newcastle teammate Anthony Gordon, but that was a little short, so Servos is able to take it forward. The long-haired midfielder, long dark curly hair, back to the right-back position. Borough chips it out of play, and back to Brighton and the England-Australia match, and Maz Faruqi.
After a first half littered with mistakes, England moving through the gears now, John. Try number 6, her second of the match for Kelsey Clifford, under the posts again, so no mistake with the conversion. England 40, Australia 7 now.
Yep, looks as though England are on the way to victory again. Here's Madueke for the England men's senior football team over there on the far side. Madueke, little trick, left footed ball. Gordon with a header! Ball well saved by Alvarez down to his left, but the offside flag then goes up. Wouldn't have counted.
Yeah, just slightly mistimed the header. Starting position was just a yard the wrong side, so he doesn't come out quickly enough to get himself back on side. But he has been inside the box, Anthony Gordon. He's tucking in a lot more, certainly when the ball's on the right-hand side. He's really in that back post area wanting to score.
Yeah, very big hair now, isn't he, Anthony Gordon?
Yeah, very.
That big blue headband.
Long locks.
Yes. I can tell you that, in fact, here comes Morgan Gibbs-White to replace Abarachi Eza, who trots off the field, clapping his hands gently together. And Morgan Gibbs-White is on. That's what you wanted, Matt.
Yeah, he gets an opportunity to continue the good show that he's had in an England shirt, and he's got, what have we got left, John? 15 minutes?
A little bit less than that.
12 minutes or so to have an impact on this game.
Let's have a word from Phil Jones as well, who's also with us here on 5 Live.
Yeah, Andorra are dropping even deeper now. I think I've seen 11 players inside their own box at one point just then, so it's even more difficult to find those spaces, but they've got to keep moving the ball quickly and being patient, which they are doing, but hopefully we'll see a few more goals.
Gibbs-White on for his 5th cap, and here's Miles Lewis-Scully, the teenager, taking it into the penalty area, but then it rushed away from him, surrounded by Andorrans, some of them falling in his wake, and in the end the ball runs through to the goalkeeper.
I mean, how many shirts are around in there? That must be 5 players that he's got to drive for. There's a slight touch of the ball. It's not a bad tackle, actually, that comes in from one of the Andorran players. I think it was Bora with the tackle all the way across from the right-back position.
Ezri Konsa at the other end takes it down, plays it across to Jordan Pickford. I can tell you in New York at the US Open, the British pair, Salisbury and Skupski, have won the first set, and 6-3, and it is now 5-5 in the second. Commentary on the women's final coming after 6:06, around about 9 o'clock tonight. Lines are open to talk to Natalie Pike and Chris Sutton on 08085 909 693. The first 6:06 on an international Saturday night this season, as England have possession in the central third. Russell Fuller is there watching that final. We'll go there in a moment, but Anthony Gordon, middle of the Andorran half, just down in front of us as England play from right to left. Gordon again, it's allowed to run on the edge of the box by Gibbs-White. Nice. Kane very nearly gave it back to him. Andorra just scraped it away out for a throw, Matt.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too clever there from Gibbs-White. I don't think Harry Kane knew he was going to dummy that ball and let it go through his legs, and then spun to try and get the return.
Here is Gibbs-White again. Really did catch the eye when he came on against Senegal. I think plenty of observers thought maybe he should have started that match at Nottingham Forest's City ground, but here he is at Villa Park. Again, Gibbs-White, number 17 on his back. Then out through Konsa to Livramento on the right-hand side. Back it comes to Konsa again. 10 minutes to go for England to add to the 2 goals that they've got here. Got to strengthen their position at the top of this group, and it will be the halfway stage of the group matches for England after this. Livramento again on the right-hand side. Livramento curling it into the box. Rodgers with his back to goal, tries to pull it down, and then it's whacked away by Babot on his left foot, and it is deflected out of play in the end for a throw-in to Andorra. So to New York and Russell Fuller,
where Marcel Granollers and Horacio Zeballos, John, are 6-5 up on serve in the second set of the men's doubles finals, with Joe Salisbury and Neil Skupski of Great Britain having won the first set by 6-3.
Thank you very much, and listen to Russell and the team tonight and indeed tomorrow night as well, the men's final. Andorra going to make a change, and Aaron Rodrigo is being replaced by Adri Daku, as they call him, coming on to win his 9th cap, and 2-0 remains the score, and we are now in the last 10 minutes here at Villa Park, to the north of the city of Birmingham, very close to the M6, to Spaghetti Junction, as Servos is upended, and it's a free kick to Andorra in the central third of the field. It's all happening in Birmingham this weekend, Matt.
Yeah, bit lively, is it?
Yeah, oh yes. Well, it often is at a weekend, but they've had the Reform Party conference in Birmingham
with
fireworks. Yeah, Nigel's aren't finished yet, you should tell Ian, incidentally, as Byrne takes up possession on the edge of the penalty area. Lots of red and white Cross of St George flags around Villa Park. They're all the rage at the moment as well. Not only that, all that though, we've got the strongman tour is in town. There were some big folk at breakfast this morning. Here's Rodgers down the right. His ball in is cleared away on the edge of the 6-yard box. Christian Garcia stabs it behind. Corner to England from the right.
So you slotted right in then, John.
I looked wafer thin compared to some of them. And we also had, and what an interesting mix this was as well. We've got various bands who are appearing at the British Open Brass Band Championship in Birmingham this weekend.
A mixed crowd, though.
A mixed crowd. I could hear them practicing as I was preparing for the match. Somebody tootling away on a cornet, I think, in the next room. Corner to England from the right. Gordon is going to take this. Referee walking into the penalty area. Hands raised. Hands apart. What is he doing? And eventually he calls over Harry Kane and Servos for a very brief word. Lewis Skelly as well. As we know, Matt, he can be a little naughty, can't he, Lewis Skelly?
Yeah.
He's a cheeky chappy, isn't he?
He is a little bit cheeky.
And Gordon is going to take this from the right-hand side. Eventually, that's all settled down, whatever it was. One of the Andorrans is trying to manhandle Dan Byrne. Good luck with that. Back it comes to Madueke. Madueke angles it into the area, ricochets away. Byrne with a stretching header. That's nodded away on the edge of the area. Comes down to England. Madueke now still inside the penalty area. Then back to Gibbs-White, who backs out of the box. Gordon as well. There's a lot of trickery out there on the field, isn't there, potentially for England. Madueke with the ball. Then it's shuffled goalwards by the arriving Gibbs-White, who was falling over. What was he, 10 yards out? But the shot was close enough to Alvarez, who was able to make another save.
Well, some of the footwork and the way they had to manufacture that chance wasn't easy. Lots of yellow shirts, but they managed to get the ball wide into the box. Gibbs-White arriving in the space, and the ball's a fraction behind him. He can't quite get it, but he's so desperate to score a goal. You can tell he's just really hungry for it. Morgan Gibbs-White.
Here come Andorra. Borra carrying the ball forward with great intent. Gives it to Servos on the right-hand side. 2-0 to England. If you've just joined us on 5 Live. And if you have, we'll tell you what's happening in the England Rugby Union World Cup match. Lewis Skelly, though, shielding the ball from Servos, and he is landed upon. He goes down. It's a free kick to England. So come in from Brighton, Maz Faruqi.
England try number 7 for another substitute, Sarah Byrne. Australia playing on fumes now, and the England replacements are enjoying themselves. England 47, Australia 7. We're in the 66th minute.
Yep, so that is available to listen on Sports Extra right now from Brighton. Back here to Birmingham, where England lead 2-0 and only 5 minutes to go. We'll wrap things up, round about 40 minutes actually, before 6:06. But we'll bring you some interviews, live interviews if we can, from down in the tunnel here at Villa Park, the very generous tunnel that it is. Very wide, very spacious down here at Villa Park. Dan Byrne turns, plays the ball forward to Gibbs-White, run to the edge of the area from Gordon. He manages to find Lewis Skelly, whose cross is deflected, and Borra can't keep it in despite his best efforts, and it's another corner for England from the left-hand side, Matt.
Well, they're getting plenty of practice at the set plays in this game. You know, you've got to look at these opportunities to use these situations for some kind of gain, and set plays hugely important. How are England setting up? Quality of delivery. It's Anthony Gordon on the ball with an in-swinging right-footed corner.
Remarkably, really, that all of this pressure, nothing really has fallen to Kane yet. Gordon In goes the corner, that's punched away by the goalkeeper out towards the far side. Had a shot early on in the match, didn't he, Harry Kane, from the edge of the
one
area.
at the back post that he couldn't quite get to is probably the closest he's come.
Yeah, the Reece James ball across the 6-yard area. Harry Kane looks as though he's going to play the whole match.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Quite a quiet match, isn't he?
Yeah. His 108th cap, which means that he's now level with the greatest England captain, Bobby Moore. Here's Gibbs-White, right-footed ball in from the angle. Livramento trying to pull it back. It's deflected across the 6-yard box. There was a body in there, managed to get the block on it, and Andorra were able to get it away to the halfway line again. Well, that double Andorran change coming for the final, 3.5 minutes of this match. Matt Upson and Phil Jones with us. We'll get another word from Phil in a moment, but England in possession over there on the right-hand side with Madueke. Gives it back behind him to Livramento. Now it comes in field to Ezri Konsa. Then square to Dan Burn. Andorra, all 11 men behind the ball. Do join us on Tuesday night when we'll be in Belgrade for Serbia-England. This time next week, West Ham-Tottenham will be the Premier League commentary match on 5 Live. England trying to work something on the corner of the penalty area. It's played in by Rodgers. Madueke goes down. There was a challenge on him, and he feels he's got a case there, Madueke. On his feet, waving his arms around. Play continues. VAR is in operation. Here's Gibbs-White. Gibbs-White, middle of the half, then it's back to the halfway line. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he may well have had a case. I think there was a bit of holding going on. Whether or not he made the most of it, and perhaps the referee just felt that it was more him going to ground than anything. But there was certainly 2 players holding him as he just slipped the ball and went to run past them.
England still in possession. Final stages now. Gordon's ball flicked from Gibbs-White. That was cleared away by Max Lovera. Now Lewis Skelly again on the left-hand side. Back it comes in field. Gibbs-White low to the edge of the box. A roll from Madueke, but there were Andorrans either side of him, and it's brought away and played away for Guillaume Lopez, who is beaten by Byrne. Thought he might have just tweaked something there, Dan Byrne.
He went to his hamstring, didn't he?
He did. Seems all right.
Yeah, it was the kind of like it was a unusual move of his, just to side foot the ball off and kind of like jumped in mid-air, didn't he, with one leg up, and landed and felt the hamstring.
On the left now for England, a direct run into the box from Morgan Rodgers, and defender and goalkeeper came together, and between them couldn't keep it in. It's another corner to England from the left. You've had another look at the Madueke claim.
Yeah.
Is that the right word for it?
I think it was a claim, wasn't it? He tried to run in between 2 players. Somebody did put their arm out, but I think the referee got that one about right.
Goal back for Gillingham. Bromley winning 2-1 now. Gordon with the deep corner to the back post, which is headed across, deflected up in the air. Goalkeeper struggling to get there, and then it's cleared away, and that's a foul for a high foot by Dan Byrne on Ian Oliveira, and it's a free kick to Andorra inside their own box, and we are now in the 90th minute.
Did I just see the potential penalty check come up on the screen? I mean, was that from the Madueke? They took their time.
They did.
Didn't need too much figuring out that one, did it?
No. Ian Oliveira still sitting down, so while he takes his time to get up, Phil Jones, what are you thinking?
Yeah, just going back to the Harry Kane one you said about, obviously it's been difficult for him. I think people would obviously feel in a game like this that he's going to score a hat-trick and there'd be loads of chances for him, but it's been so difficult for him. The easiest thing for Harry Kane to do would be to try and come too short for the ball and sort of condense that space in and around that area. So he's done the right thing by staying away from the play and trying to occupy the players, but there's so many people around him. It's so hard for him to get any sort of space in that box, and it's been a difficult game for him.
It's not a game for a centre-forward, is it?
No, not at all.
When the team's got that much possession,
you're just feeding off scraps and hoping something falls to you in the box.
Yeah.
This latest double change for Andorra. Babot, Servos are coming off from the midfield, and Mark Rebes is coming on for his 67th cap, and also Jesus Rubio, the number 18, who is winning his 49th. England 2, Andorra 0, and 3 minutes of added time at the end of this World Cup qualifier, which will see England make it 4 wins out of 4. And if they can safely negotiate Belgrade on Tuesday night, then the favourites to win this group, Matt, will be the very, very hot favourites.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it will be an interesting game out in Belgrade. They are no doubt the biggest threat in this group. So it'll be the kind of test, more than anything, to cope with the kind of atmosphere that they're going to have to play in.
Yes. Do you remember the first match at the Euros?
I do remember it. How could I forget?
I think I've forgotten most of it.
Yeah.
England winning a not very good game, 1-0, Jude Bellingham. Dan Burn was booked for that, by the way, which is England's first yellow card in the group.
In the box, where he's jumped for the ball there and caught the kind of kicked the studs on the players' boots. That was a yellow card.
Yes, it was. So England 2, Andorra 0, and it is a goal kick to the Andorrans. And I think really probably we are still yet to see this identity, that the matches come pretty much one after the other over the course of this month, October, November. England have got that match on Tuesday against Serbia, then there's the friendly against Craig Bellamy's Wales, they'll have a go at Wembley next month, then Latvia away, then Serbia at home, Albania away. And by the end of all that, I think Thomas Tuchel will be saying we'll have spent more time together, more time over a shorter period to get my ideas across. I'm guessing that he'll say. Here's Gordon down in front of us as the challenge comes in, and that's out of play of the newly arrived Rubio for a throw-in for England. We're in the final minute now, so it looks as though just 1 goal in each half. Christian Garcia's own goal and Declan Rice's header. That is going to be it for the almost 40,000 people inside Villa Park, and actually seats are emptying rapidly around the stadium. Lots of claret and blue becoming obvious, and that is it. The final action, 2-0, frustrating, difficult again. Andorra with an absolute backs-to-the-wall effort here, and in the end, only 2-0, Matthew Upson.
Yeah, only 2-0, not quite enough attacking action, not enough shots on target, not enough risks taken for me, or direct play. The moment England were direct and kept it simple, I thought they created something. The second goal came from that, and yeah, I think there'll be lots of questions again over certain things. England won, John, that's the main thing. It's, you know, we can't lose sight that this is a World Cup qualifying group, and you have to win and you have to go through, so that's a big box ticked and move on to the next one. But as we know, we're looking for something a bigger picture than all of this. With a new coach coming in, we're looking for little signs in the team. So hard against this kind of opposition in this kind of framework of game, and we didn't really quite see maybe what we were looking for. But England win and go on to the next game.
Thomas Tuchel patting a number of the Andorra players on the back, had a word with 1 or 2 of them. I would say a thin smile from him as he walked along the touchline, spotting, I don't know, family, friends up in the stands to our left. There was a thumbs up from him before he disappeared away down the tunnel. Phil Jones, what are you thinking? Bigger picture or just move on?
A bit of both. I mean, it's a game that was probably a no-win situation for Thomas Tuchel. You know, you get a game like this where it's evidently that it's going to end up like this, with the amount of bodies in the box every time England went forward. There were moments in the game where England looked threatening and they were direct and they posed a big threat, but very difficult to play against opposition like that. I think you'll see a much firmer test against Serbia on Tuesday night, and hopefully we'll see a lot more and get a lot more out of the game and see different aspects of the game than what we didn't see tonight.
Harry Kane's just leading the England players around, those who are still left inside Villa Park. You'll be able to have your say on 606 with Natalie Pike and Chris Sutton. The lines are open now, 08085 909 693. We will have more from Matthew Upson and Phil Jones over the next half hour or so. I'm going to go down to the tunnel to see who is going to speak to us after this. We'll certainly hear from Thomas Tuchel. I suspect we might hear from Elliot Anderson as well. We shall see. And Ian Dennis is going to guide you through the next half hour or so on 5 Live.
Thank you, John. Yes, we are with you till 7:30, and then as John says, it is 6:06. I'll let Matt and Phil catch their breath while we get an update from the US Open with Russell Fuller,
where the men's doubles final, Ian, has gone to a deciding set. Joe Salisbury and Neil Skupski of Great Britain playing Marcel Granollers of Spain and Horacio Zeballos of Argentina. It's a repeat of the French Open final, which Granollers and Zeballos won, and they are in position potentially to do the same in this US Open final, because after Salisbury and Skupski won the first set 6-3, Granollers and Zeballos recovered from love 40 down, saving 3 break points midway through that second set, and then took it on a tie-break by 7 points to 4. First game, Salisbury and Skupski on serve in the deciding set as they try to become the first all-British team to win the US Open men's doubles title since 1903. And we're under the roof here with heavy rain and thunderstorms expected in New York before long.
Cheers, Russell. And don't forget, after 6:06, Russell and the team will bring you live coverage of that US Open tennis women's final from 9 o'clock on BBC Radio 5 Live. Let's head to Brighton then. It's the Women's Rugby Union World Cup, and Maz Faruqi is watching England-Australia.
Well, she scored England's 7th try, but Sarah Byrne has been shown a yellow for connecting with the head of an Australian forward in an attempted tackle. It won't change the result of this game, but England will play out the final minutes of this match with 14. England 47 still, Australia 7. We've got just over 3 minutes left of this final match of Pool A.
Thank you, Maz. Commentary on Sports Extra. So, it's finished England 2, Andorra 0 at Villa Park. The England players are just finishing their lap of appreciation, and I'm joined by 2 former England defenders in Matt Upson and Phil Jones. England then 4 wins from 4 in Group K. They are 5 points clear of Serbia, who they meet in Belgrade on Tuesday night. We'll once again have commentary from Belgrade on Tuesday night on BBC Radio 5 Live. But Matt, the performance once again at times was a hard watch.
Yeah, tough watch, and not the kind of riveting, edge of your seat type stuff. But if I'm honest, I think it's a little step too far to expect that in this fixture. I will say that, but you want to see a little bit more, don't I? No, would you agree that you want to see something a little bit more from England in terms of speed of the passing, aggressive decisions, physicality, keeping it simple? I think it can easily get too complex because there's so many patterns and touches and moves, whereas the simple things in that game created something, because top quality that's done in a world-class way that's really simple is hard to play against. And I think when England deliver that, we're at our best, and for me that's where the goals came from.
What do you think, Phil? Too safe?
A little bit, but I have to defend England a little bit. It's so difficult to play against that, so difficult to break them down. They were so, you just put any sort of bodies in the box around there, it's very difficult to find the space to play the little combinations that they used to playing. And even when England have got the ball and they're playing the little passes into the midfield, hoping they can drag and provoke a press from the Andorrans, there was absolutely none of that at all. So even to drag the players out to play around them, there wasn't even any of that. So very, very difficult to find space. At times you've got the centre halves, Dan Burn and Konza, who finished the game. They're almost in positions where you're thinking they could have a pop at goal. I know I might have been tempted in the game, but it's a difficult game. It's probably not one that will go down in the history, but there's a lot of it'll be a much better game on Tuesday night, and I think we'll learn a lot more.
Well, Eric in Somerset has got in touch on the socials. He says, I'm actually quite pleased with this. Sure, a few more goals would have been nice, but England have been quick, inventive, lots of fast interchanges and positive play. A work in progress, sure, but lots to like today. That's Eric in Somerset. But Matt, what does Thomas Tuchel learn from a game like this, from a team that are 174th in the world?
I think it's really hard to learn a lot from this game. I think he'll learn that he likes Elliot Anderson. I think he'll have a look at him playing in one of his teams and think, I really like this lad. He gets about the pitch, he looks for action. That's what I like about him. He goes searching for a bit of action, doesn't he, Anderson? He's that type of player. I thought he had an excellent game in the heart of midfield, but I think the frustration that he will feel will be from realising that it's really difficult, like Phil said, playing these matches. He won't have experienced anything quite like this in consecutive fashion in the matches that he's been in charge for England. So many of them have been, there you go, you have the ball, right, what are you going to do? So many of them have been like that, and I don't think he would have experienced that as a coach to this degree. So it's new for him as well. So if anything, he's on very much that learning curve of, right, well, how do we actually go about being better in these games and maybe being more clinical? Perhaps it is by being a bit more simple and a bit more direct and just, you know, putting balls in areas of the pitch and asking questions of Andorra a little bit more, as opposed to having to be real, intricate, twinkle-toe, clever football all the time, which is great, but does it get the job done as easily as something that may be a little bit more direct at times?
Yeah, I mean, I look at there was maybe 2 transition moments in the whole game, one in the first half, one in the second half. The first half, you know, Tuchel was a frustrated figure. I think it was Elliot Anderson that just misplaced a pass, and they had a great chance of releasing Rashford down the left-hand side. Yep. Those little details in games like this really matter, really count. I think the second one in the second half was Rashford, where Declan Rice has powered forward with the ball, and he just delayed the pass too long. Again, those little fine details, those are the moments in the big games that are going to, you know, you're going to come out on top. Rest defence you're talking about, I think for me, looking at the rest of really good all through the game. I think there's just one moment where Guehi's giving the ball away in the first half. Dave broke, I think, down this left-hand side, and Dan Burn didn't get across maybe quick enough, but got there in the end. I'm thinking if that's against a higher opposition, a better opposition, that could end up in a goal. So it's those little moments in terms of sort of defensively and those transition moments. But listen, it's a difficult game. You try and pick out the bits, but we are literally picking out bare minimum out of the game.
You'll always learn something, won't you? But be it good or bad. You know, every game throws something up that you see your players do, and you go, oh, be it as minute as it can be, there'll always be something that you pull away from that.
But I don't think we've seen anything of Thomas Tuchel's identity as yet in his 5 games in charge, or have we?
I don't think there's something that jumps out that tells you, oh, right, he's going to go this way. I don't see that, but
I think Senegal was the disappointment one.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that was it. I think that was the first real test of really show, because they're a strong opposition, or strongish opposition. That was a test, and didn't come out on top of that one. So I think that was sort of his audition of trying to sort of, for the fans to see what an England side should look like.
But that was a big change team, wasn't it?
And it was a change team, yeah.
So you look at that and go, well, it'd been great to see that opposition against a team that had a Bellingham, Rice, you know, Saka, Stones, all the players that you think, right, they're probably more nailed on to be starting if they're fit and available. We haven't seen that team go out there against an opposition like that. So we're still a little bit in that phase where it's a little bit of guesswork, to be honest.
The thing is, though, we're 278 days away from the World Cup, which seems a long way. But when you then put that into sharp focus, you think Serbia on Tuesday, then Wales and Latvia, 2 games in October, Serbia and Albania, the 2 remaining qualifiers in November, and then there'll be 2 more games in March, and that's it.
Yeah.
So we're talking 7 matches of football for Thomas Tuchel then to try and finalise his plans.
Yeah.
And I still think there are a lot of questions more than answers.
Huge questions. And also, you know, we already know what the opposition are going to be, bar the 2 March matches. So, you know, it's not jumping out at you to say, well, we're going to get really tested by this team. There will be certain tests in different ways, but not at that level that we were speaking about against teams you're going to come up against in a World Cup quarter-final or a semi-final or even a last 16. It's not an easy path to really hone this team and get it where you need it to be, and it's going to challenge Thomas Tuchel in every single way to get England to a place where you feel like they're going to be competitive into that World Cup. I think he's capable, for sure, but it's going to be really challenging.
You've both played for England in a World Cup tournament in the finals. 9 months out from that tournament, did you have an awareness, or were you able to gauge, thinking, all right, we've got a settled team here going into that, even from in this position, 9 months away from a tournament?
Absolutely, 100%. But I had a head coach in Capello who had a 2-year build-up into the tournament, which is your ideal. So you have those whole 2 years to work with those players into that tournament, and we all knew our kind of the pecking order in terms of selection. We kind of that was a pattern that he showed time and time again. We kind of knew that. I knew what he wanted defensively. You know, he brought that Italian defensive kind of ideas and worked a lot on that on the training pitch, which I learnt a lot from. So, yes, we had some structure. The tournament didn't go well, but that was for me for different reasons. But we certainly had that structure going into that tournament, and I think people looked at the team to go, this team's got a chance.
The thing is, Phil, is that there's no Palmer, there's no Saka, there's no Bellingham, there's no Foden. Alexander-Arnold and Walker are not in this squad as well. He's used 29 players in his 5 games so far. I still get the impression he's still working things out, still tinkering.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. There's no way in his mind now that he'll know, he'll have an idea of what sort of team he wants to put out in the first game of the World Cup, but that's if everyone's fit and everyone's playing at the top of the game, and we all know that that's not the case in any tournament going in. You'll always get, touch wood, but you always get one or two injuries that pick up before the tournament starts, and that throws a spanner in the works. But listen, I think the players are learning just as much off Tuchel as we're learning off Thomas's starting 11, the way he likes to play, the systems he likes to play. So I think we do need to, allow him time, and he deserves that, and he's a top manager, so I'm sure he'll get it right. But I think, we're trying to pick the bones out of the game today. It's very, very difficult.
It's hard.
It's very, very difficult.